ultimately going to be the big playground in which we're going to have to try and understand what exactly it is that we're going to need to get right over the next year. How does Cyril's GNU perform post last year? South Africa's political and socio-economic climate is going to take center stage tonight. President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver his annual State of the Nation address. It marks his first address of the 7th administration, where he's expected to highlight the Government of National Unity's efforts in fostering inclusive growth, job creation, as well as poverty reduction. Latashia Naidoo joins us live from Cape Town's City Hall ahead of the highly anticipated speech. Latashia is going to really be about just understanding where to from here and what exactly South Africa's priorities are for the coming year.
Yes, good morning, Arabella, or good morning from a very windy Cape Town. We're standing in front of City Hall, which has been declared a parliamentary precinct in preparation for that all-important address by President Cyril Ramaphosa this evening from these hallowed halls at 7 p.m. Now, like you mentioned, this being the first Sona of the 7th administration, which means that the workings of the Government of National Unity, be it its successes and its failures, will be spotlighted during the President's speech this evening. Now, Arabella, a lot goes into putting together a State of the Nation address. It takes months of discussions between various stakeholders in government. And with this being a joint sitting of the two houses of Parliament, the National Assembly and the NCOP, there's an appreciation for the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to get this event, the biggest family meeting of the year, off the ground. But here to tell me more is the Secretary of the National Assembly, Masibulele Xaso. Masibulele, thank you for joining us very early on this Sona morning. I guess the question in everyone's minds for tonight's Sona is, what will be different given that this is the first sitting of the Government of National Unity?
Indeed, we are at the start of the 7th Parliament. You will be aware that just after the elections, there was opening of Parliament. That is where the President came and gave the vision for the next 5 years. So the State of the Nation address being the first, it would be expected, obviously, that the President would give an update in terms of what he had indicated at the opening of Parliament, but also the way forward, what the plans are for the coming year. For us, the State of the Nation address is not an event. It is a program. It is a program that enables Parliament to exercise its oversight over the executive, but also to hold the executive accountable, because there will be commitments made by the President, followed by the budget on the 19th of February. And beyond that, you have strategic plans from departments and budget votes. So committees of Parliament will then scrutinize all these plans, holding the executive accountable. So it's a very significant moment for parliamentary oversight.
And with regard to this new Government of National Unity, procedurally, has anything changed?
Not really. The procedures are the same. You may recall that last year we had new joint rules that indicated that for today, you only have the President addressing the House, and members may not interrupt the President. But next week, there will be a debate. That is when members will be able to engage on the issues raised by the President for 2 days. And following that, there will be the reply by the President to the debate. So the rules have not changed. They remain the same, the rules of Parliament. But these are joint rules, because today we have a joint sitting, the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. So you don't have the rules of the NA or of the NCOP applicable today, but the joint rules of the two houses.
And lastly, what actually goes into planning a State of the Nation address? It's not something that happens over a month of planning. It actually takes months and months, and it's a collaborative effort between those two houses, between Parliament as a whole. I think that South Africans can appreciate that this being the highlights of the political calendar. A lot is done procedurally, but also legislatively, and in terms of security to ensure the smooth running of this event.
Indeed, there's a lot of collaboration. Here you have the three arms of the state: executive, judiciary, and the legislature. So there's collaboration between Parliament and the executive, Parliament and the judiciary. You will have the judges, you will have the speakers, of legislatures come together. And of course, you will see with the processions. So the security cluster would have been involved in the preparations, public works, all the facets of the state would be involved in something such as this one. Of course, the two houses working together with the provinces. And so that after this evening, we can have a successful State of the Nation address.
Thank you so much, Masibulele. That is, of course, the Secretary of the National Assembly, Arabile, giving us insight into what actually goes into planning the State of the Nation address. Now, Masibulele did mention that last year, new joint rules were introduced into Parliament, particularly around the President's speech being the sole item on the agenda. Also, the decorum of members of Parliament and guests, noting that no one was allowed to or would be allowed to interrupt the President during his speech. But, of course, a lot of anticipation ahead of this first speech by President Cyril Ramaphosa of the 7th administration. He's expected to touch on the relationship of the Government of National Unity, along with providing insights into where we as a country are standing in terms of our economic and social landscape, but also a slew of diplomatic issues which have arisen over the past few weeks and months, particularly with regard to our fragmented relationship with the United States. And he's expected to speak about those bilateral agreements, as well as, of course, the tragic deaths of those 14 SADF soldiers in the DRC. So lots of anticipation, and we'll be, of course, covering this event for our viewers throughout the course of the day, Arabile.
Yeah, indeed. We certainly have yourself as well as many other reporters as well continuing to give us the latest on this one. Latashia, appreciate